And welcome in to the week 10 edition of Top Dogs College Football. Mark Zinno, Jeremy Conn with you guys here for Pickdawgz and the Pickdawgz YouTube, pickdawgz.com. Pickdawgz. What's up, Jeremy? Good to be with you again. We have 5 games for you guys. Show best bet, which we cashed last week with Wake Forest. It was an outright winner. A lot of late line movement in that game. Actually, SMU ballooned to -6 right before kick. So we were on a bad number, but still – Wake gets it done, and we get a winner for the people. So,
Mark, why don't you tell everybody about your Saturday? How did you do?
I went 4-3 officially on the premium plays.
But no, you know what else we talked about. Like when you're making your decision, you hit a ton of games on Saturday, didn't you?
I did. I had a list. I shows everybody. This is my list. I write down my list every week of games that I like. I wrote down 11 games, and the 2 that I had as part of premium plays. LSU and Iowa State were both losses. That's why I kind of went 4-3. But the other 11 were 100% correct.
So, and the only reason I ask you to bring that up is like we've all done it where we put our plays and I'm like, this is our top 5. This is what I'm going with. But I like these games as well. And then all of a sudden you shit the bed in your top 5, and then you look down and you're like, oh my God, I hit all the other games.
If I would have just played the other ones, stupid.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we'll try to give you guys some good information as we always do. Again, reminder, get the 3-day package, get the 7-day package. Best way to go, best value you can get. You guys can combine me and Jeremy. We're actually pretty good at this, despite what my record on the webpage says. Nonetheless.
we all lose. It's just a matter of like how pretty you can be when you're winning, right?
I mean, I'm a lot prettier when I'm losing, I think, than when I'm winning. But that's because, well, not winning as much as I should. So there is that. All right, let's get into it. We got 5 games for you guys, and we won't hesitate any longer to get this thing started. But again, go to our premium pages, get a 3-day package, 7-day package, best value you can get, and drop a comment below on how smart we are and how pretty we are, aka how much did we win/lose. I don't know. First game up, Vanderbilt and Texas. Vanderbilt was one of the games I wrote down last week that I didn't play. Nonetheless, Texas is at home. In a rank versus rank matchup, 9th Vanderbilt, 20th Texas here. And you can see the numbers up there. This line is starting to move in favor of the Longhorns. Hook 'em. And really, Jeremy, I looked at this game objectively, and Vanderbilt's a great story. Clark Lee's done amazing things. Diego Pavia is a lot of fun to bet on. But there are 2 things that stand out to me here. That Vanderbilt, if you look at their wins, what do we really validate from their wins? South Carolina is a mess, right? Lenora Sellers and everything is falling apart there. They're a banged up team with injuries. We know LSU just fired their coach. And Missouri, we knew was a paper tiger to begin with. The best defense that they've played all year long, by margin, is Alabama. What happened in that game? They scored 14 points. Now, granted, they probably should have scored more than that because they had a couple of turnovers and mistakes that hurt them.
Hey, and Missouri also lost their quarterback in that game too. So,
yeah. Texas is a much better defense than Alabama's. And the fact that this number is that small, for all the consternation about Arch Manning, this, that, and the other, Texas is winning. I don't need it to be pretty. I don't need Arch to live up to all this hype. Granted, again, they beat Oklahoma without John Mateer. They went to overtime against a bad Kentucky team and had to come back and go to overtime and beat Mississippi State. Do you want to say Texas isn't as good as we thought they were? Sure, that's fair, but that doesn't mean they can't cover a less than field goal spread or a field goal game at home against a team that they are much better than defensively. And I have a hard time believing, for all Diego Pavia's, great play and things that he can do, that they're going to walk into Austin and win this game. This is really for Vanderbilt where it's not that it falls apart, but you're now at a run for Vanderbilt of playing 4 straight ranked teams. Alabama went through that gauntlet and came out clean on the other side. I don't know if Vanderbilt is at that same level where they can go through 4 straight ranked opponents, particularly going on the road for this last one, and go 3-1 in this spot here. I like the Longhorns. I think the offense will do more than enough. Vanderbilt is a very tough physical squad, but I think Texas is going to be able to score. And I know Arch was kind of limping off the field and carried off the field at the end of the game last week, but this is sort of a must win for Texas. It's a spot where they can't afford, obviously, another loss. And at home, there's nothing on deck for Texas other than a bye week. They do get Georgia on the other side, but I don't think Texas is in any spot where they can look ahead here, because for Texas, the math is if we have 2 losses to Ohio State and Florida and we go 10-2, we're going to the college football playoff. And that's kind of what mode they're in right now.
I agree.
And if you want to be a 3-loss team as an SEC team and get in, 2 of your 3 losses better be to Ohio State and Georgia, because no one's going to think that those are bad losses by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and again, when we sit here and talk about Texas, I know people had written them off because of some of the close wins they had and the loss, and Arch looked terrible in the horseshoe to open up the season, and that means he could never play again. And as you watch the season go along, he's an incredible runner, and I think he's starting to get better in the passing game. But this is all about everything you said. You had 3 emotional wins for Vanderbilt in a row against ranked opponents, and they did what they're supposed to. They won all those games, and now you got to go on the road and face Texas, which I agree with you is the best defense that they've faced thus far, which is one of the reasons if you live in a state that has college football props, I like Diego Pavia under rush yards. And don't forget, in college, if you get sacked, that counts against the quarterback's rushing yards.
Which is stupid, by the way. I don't know why they haven't fixed that
It's the dumbest thing ever, but that's why I love this play even more. And I might even love it with Texas just keeping them under that number with what I think they're going to do in this game. I think this is too small of a number. I think we're getting it at a mint here under a field goal.
Yeah, I agree. And the money line price, too, favorable at this point in time, but it's going to go up. Don't be surprised, Jeremy, by Saturday if this number's pushing 160, minus 160, minus 165. They might not move the number because they don't mind the money line liability per se as they do other stuff. If it's a dog and they got money line, obviously they do, but they don't mind the money line liability on a favorite because obviously the payout is less. So I think this is a spot here where Texas, gets a chance to, to kind of show what they are and who they are. I mean, you want to be playing a better version of football. And what you remember, those last 2 games, by the way, they were on the road. You have a Texas team that just spent 2 games on the road and a Vandy team that just spent 2 games at home. If that was flipped in this scenario and we're playing this game in Vanderbilt, then there's a different conversation here. But Austin is still a really tough place to play. The road games for Vanderbilt have not been hard contests other than the Alabama game. I know Virginia Tech is a tough place to play, but what do we know about Virginia Tech? Well, they fired their coach and everything else. And so even though it was a night game at Lane Stadium, which is an awesome environment for college football, but not a very good Virginia Tech team. And South Carolina obviously was not a team that was equipped to play anybody legitimate and beat them at this point in time. So I think it's all Texas here. I don't have any reservations about it. I'll tell everybody right now, this is on my premium card already. So I think the Longhorns are the right side.
Look at you giving. I'll say something that only you'll understand. That I think Vanderbilt gets their rails painted this weekend, buddy. I just think Texas comes in and gives them the old Marty. Paints the hell out of their rails.
Schmarty here to paint your rails. So backgrounds of the joke. Jeremy and I, when I lived in Baltimore together, we were going to an Oriole game and he stopped by my house and we were parked by my house because I lived around the corner from the stadium. And as we're leaving, we're walking up my front door and some random guy walks up there. You could tell
it was Marty. It wasn't just your random guy, Schmarty.
And that's exactly what he sounded. My name is Schmarty and I'm here to paint your rails. Like the railing of my outdoor banister down my steps. And Jeremy was literally laughing like that as the guy was speaking to me.
I was like, because I wasn't even thinking about your rails outside. I'm like, what is he? Is this code word? Is this guy coming in what's he going to do? Is he laying some pipe?
I'm unaware of.
Yeah, it's just Marty here, and I'm here to paint your rails.
It's been a running joke for me and Jeremy for about a better part of 15 years now. It's just a great. The guy literally walked up with a wire brush in his hand.
Yeah, he looked like Jeff Foxworthy on crack. That's what he looked like. You might be a rail painter. I don't know, man.
Anyway, we both like Texas. I can't even.
It's a premium play for me as well.
All right, so we're giving out stuff for free. We will have a free play at the end that's not Texas, so there is that. On to the cocktail party. Jeremy, guess what?
What? You're going to be there.
I am going. For the first time ever, I'm going to Florida, Georgia, whatever the hell they call
Mark, what's your favorite cocktail?
It is absolutely a cosmopolitan.
Mm-hmm. Pinkies up.
Pinkies
what
up.
Is it? Seriously?
Bourbon. Anything with bourbon. I mean, a good old fashioned that's smoked is.
Oh, who doesn't want a smoked old fashioned? The 50s. No, you're right. Old fashioned. I like a Manhattan. And I agree. Anything with bourbon.
Bourbon.
I'll have an Alabama Slammer is what I'll have.
Yeah, Sex on the Beach, maybe a little Long Island iced tea. What do you think?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Georgia is 7.5-point favorite here in the cocktail party against the Florida team that just fired their coach. And they've had both teams are coming off the bye, as they always do in this game here. It's hard not to take Georgia. Can I give you a different way to cut this game down, though?
Mm-hmm.
For my money, Florida might be the best or second best defense in the SEC. Now, if you look objectively at the top, you're not going to see the numbers that promote that. But if you dive deeper into this game here, Jeremy, and you look a little bit more at Florida, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this here in just a moment. This is two things here are paramount. This is a Florida team, okay, defensively, that when you look at this, the LSU game that they lost 20-10, okay, they were only trailing by 3 at half, and that included multiple picks from DJ Lagway, including a pick 6 in that game that they only lost by 10. Same thing with Miami. They had only given up 13 points to Miami in 3 quarters, right? And that was a Miami team at that point in time many thought was the best team in the country. They went out and beat Texas outright. The game against A&M, it was close at half. It was a 7-point game, 21-14. So Florida has proven continually that the first 30 minutes, their defense is legit. You're going to get the best effort from them. Also, look at Georgia. Look at Georgia's first halves in all these games that they've played. Trailing to Tennessee, trailing to Alabama. Throw Kentucky out because they stink. But they were losing to Auburn, and they were trailing to Ole Miss at half. So I'd take Florida plus 3.5 in the first half here and know that Florida's likely going to wilt towards the end. I don't know if you want to give anything to the new coach bump here after Napier was let go. I don't really know that. But, I mean, look, if DJ Lagway is, DJ Pooh, then Florida's dead on arrival. But the only way Florida can stay in this game is to keep it within a field goal, at most one score, and try to, get up against a Georgia defense late that isn't all that great either. So if Florida's not covering early, guess what? They ain't covering this game late. Like, tell me the game script where Florida is down by 14 or 17 at half and then comes roaring back and erases the deficit. I don't see that game script developing because, again, their defense spends so much time on the field. They're 38 minutes a game they're on the field. Like, it's not sustainable.
I do think the coach bump thing is interesting because, they were saying this was the most talented team that Billy Napier had.
Yeah.
There's no question that there are 5 stars. There's talent, both sides of the ball. Yeah. I mean, you look at, so what happens if all of a sudden, you get the new coach and these guys are finally playing like they should. Not that he brought in some serum and everybody's drinking the magic stuff. And, you get what I'm saying, right? Like like people didn't want to play for him and the message is stale. And now you got this new guy. It's like, look, everybody's got a new opportunity here. Guys go out and start playing better. I've been saying all along, and I know you're closer to it than I am. I just feel like this Georgia team's missing something.
Yes.
It's just like, I don't know what it is yet, but like when I watch them, I'm like, yeah, they're good, but like they're not going anywhere.
I don't think it's a national championship team. I don't like their offense coordinator, Mike Bobo. Are you a Bobo? No, he is a Bobo.
I'm a Bobo.
Walk Like a Man, underrated movie from the 80s, early 90s. Howie
Mandel.
Very, very good. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. You'll find it comical. Teddy Ruxpin. Repeat after me. Anyway, but that's kind of the way I look at it with the game here. I look at Florida as being able to keep this thing close in the first half. I'm not laying 7.5 points in the cocktail party. I mean, Kirby Smart, ever since he lost his first year in this matchup, has boat raced Florida in these games for the most part. Now, has Florida been as talented in recent years as Georgia? No, but maybe this year they are. But you're not going to get me to lay 7.5 with Georgia here. Maybe I'd take them second half, right? If it's close, take Georgia to come back and we get something under a field goal live, at half. Georgia minus 2.5 for the game. That I would do because I think they can come back and beat them. Yeah,
I mean, for me, like, I do think I'm actually talking myself into Florida here. Like, I already put up most of my plays, and I'm still handicapping some games. And I think from what you're saying, the first half stuff makes a ton of sense to me. I do feel like this might even be an underplay with these two teams beating each other up, especially if this Florida team comes out and plays like they can with the talent that they have. But I would take them plus the points. The other thing that I really like in this game is the same thing I said about Diego Pavia, is I would take Gunners under rushing yards. I think there's going to be a couple of sacks in there. I'm not saying he's not going to run, but I also think he's going to be hurt by that as well. And if this game is close, he's going to have to throw, and I think Florida will pin their ears back.
And here's the one thing that you can rest on Florida's offense. I know they're missing some people in their wide receiving core, but this is a Georgia defense that is dead last in the SEC with 8 sacks. It's the first time they've been at the bottom of the league in any defensive category in Kirby Smart's 10-year tenure. They're 14th in third down defense, 12th in pass defense. I mean, if Lagway is going to be successful, it's because he has time and there's no pressure. And that's, something that bodes well for Florida here. I mean, it's the matchup on paper looks like it's all Georgia, but in reality, there is a lot here where Florida can be competitive in this game. And like I said, if they are if they are going to keep this thing close and they're going to have a chance to win it, they can't get down early. So I will be.
I think it's fair.
I will be in the stadium for this one. I will be having cocktails, and I will rage text you when Florida's down 14 in the first quarter. So
okay,
and I'll
please
blame
do.
you.
But I think Florida's a live dog for the upset, man. I do. It's weird. I've said this about the Steelers all year long. Like, I just don't. There's something off.
Let's start with them.
Yeah. Well, and the Packers is the Packers. I looked up and saw the G. In Georgia, the same thing. Boy, it's going to be a long day. But no, when you look at Georgia this year, like I said, it feels like at times they play down to the level of their opponent. I question whatever the hell's going on offense, because you watch them sometimes and go, this is it. This is Georgia. This is what you guys are trotting out on offense. So I think Florida's a live dog.
Gunnar Stockton looks like a 35-year-old plumber who comes to your house, like or like an electrician. It's like, hey, I'm here to fix your circuit breaker.
My buddy circuit breakers.
From a team in Georgia that has a lot of questions to one that doesn't have a lot of questions. Georgia Tech and NC State. We see the number there. This number has come down, opened at 6.5, and it's a spot here for the Yellow Jackets, who, look, Georgia Tech is a great story. Brent Key is an awesome coach. I really like the guy.
Love him.
I think he would be a great fit at Penn State, personally. I don't know if he's going to leave or not. But him going to a school with actual resources, like for football, would be a huge win. This is a Georgia Tech team, though, that is not the 8th best team in the country. There are easily a dozen better teams, if not 15 better teams, from a power rating standpoint and the way odds makers do it, than the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Not an insult. It's just the reality of the situation. In fact, odds makers power rate Florida over Georgia Tech. So what does that tell you?
I like them, though. I just think they're tough.
I like them too. Here's the thing, and here's what Georgia Tech is up against, okay? Georgia Tech is up against a spot here where this is the last real trip-up spot before they get to 11-0 and face Georgia in the final game of the year. However, if you look at their road performances this year, they've been dealt with a decent amount of luck that has allowed them to win games. They were sloppy as hell in the game against Colorado in the opener, where they had 3 turnovers and got very lucky to come back and win that game late. The game against Wake Forest, you could argue they should have lost that game. They were outgained by Wake Forest in the game. They had more turnovers. They were worse on third down in the game, and Wake Forest lost the game in OT when they went to go for a 2-point conversion, right? Look at the game against Duke, a game that I was on Georgia Tech on. It was on my card. That game swung on one fortunate play in the opening drive where
a fumble going in the end zone, because I was on Duke.
Yeah. Yep, I was on Duke in that game too. Duke outgained Georgia Tech in that game and held on to the ball longer in that game. Georgia Tech likely should have lost that one. If that when that opening fumble happened, I think I text you immediately, Duke is dead.
You did.
And I just had no confidence in them from that point.
And I said typical Mark. As soon as it happens, it's over with. But this one you happen to be right on.
Yes, I happen to be right. So They're going to play NC State, which is probably outside of Clemson, whether it's the current version of Clemson or not, this is the second best offense they faced all year long. So this defense is going to be pushed. However, NC State's defense, how do you describe them? They stink. So that's the problem here. Now, if you get Georgia Tech chasing the whole game, if I'm NC State, I take the ball, I go out and I try to score in the first drive and make it work for me. CJ Bailey has been very good at quarterback this year. He does have a little bit of a turnover problem, but you have to sort of try and live with that. And NC State is coming off back-to-back road games, and they're back home for the first time since the beginning of October. So I lean the Wolfpack here. I would tell you this was on the list that I made when I wrote it down. Now that the number has come down, it's hard to take a dog at a lesser number. Like there's a world where if I'm laying 4.5 with a favorite, laying 5.5 doesn't bother me. But losing a point as an underdog bothers me.
Well, I get your point here, but this was one that I had circled, and it pains me to say it because I love this Georgia Tech team. Like, they're so easy to root for. You're absolutely right about their coach. All you have to do is see him after big wins, and all he wants to do is talk about the grit of his players, and he's talking about the guys on the team, former offensive linemen, right? And the boys up front are going to work. CJ Bailey's a problem for this Georgia Tech defense. I think NC State's a live dog. I think that plus, 180 looks great. And that's exactly what I think happened. I mean, the best play in the game might be the over because I don't see either defense stopping the other one. I think if you're NC State, you're hoping Georgia Tech does some unlikely things, playing behind the sticks, getting a penalty when running the football. And as you said, you're right. If they can get ahead of them, it makes Georgia Tech play just a little bit different. I like NC State to win outright, but I'm gladly going to take those points.
NC State has the ACC's leading rusher in Hollywood Smothers, which is quite the name.
Hollywood.
Hollywood
kids.
It's definitely not his real name. And if you nickname yourself Hollywood, I kind of think you're a douche. Just, if you're a pilot and you're Hollywood, like in Top Gun, that's fine. But
is it? That's okay. So you can just take that on, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Right, Goose?
Yes. Goose died. Very sad.
Spoiler alert, man. Come on.
Spoiler alert. Goose died. But yeah, look, if they can run the ball and they can do it effectively, the biggest thing can NC State's defense contain Haynes King on the ground? I think if you force Haynes King to beat you through the air, they have a great shot. Because Haynes King is not the greatest passer in the world, but as a dual threat quarterback, he creates a lot of mismatches for defense.
He's fun.
And you look at that total here, brings in a ton of variance with a high total like that. I think that this goes over. I don't think NC State can cover it. I think they've got to find a way to limit Georgia Tech from scoring. Look,
I think NC State could win this in a shootout. Bailey's that type of player that's he'll beat you with his feet and his arm. You look at prop bets too. I think Haynes King over his 70-some rushing. I think that's an interesting play as well.
Yeah. So again, we're in agreement here on NC State being the side. Playing against undefeated teams at this point of the season is always something I like to do, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we only usually end up with one, maybe two undefeated programs in the Power 4 schools when it's all said and done, because there's too much equity in the talent. In Group of 5 schools, it's different. Service Academy is different. Great. But when you talk about Power 4 schools, and right now the only two that look like they're going to be undefeated are Ohio State and Indiana. So we'll see how it goes. Next game, Oklahoma, Tennessee, 14th ranked Volunteers, 18th ranked Sooners. I think Oklahoma got a little bit exposed last week, personally. When you look at their defense, and the numbers say that they were a top 10 unit in the country, but go look at the teams that they've played. They played Michigan, and I'm talking about not the cupcake schools. I'm talking about the actual legitimate, programs. They played Michigan with a true freshman quarterback in Blair Underwood at Michigan, and only gave up 13 points there. They played an Auburn team with Jackson Arnold in a game where they only gave up 17, probably should have given up more. And not only that, they were aided by officials in that game, clearly. Auburn also had 13 penalties in that game that did not help them at all. And Oklahoma got away with a penalty that they should have had and didn't win it. Nonetheless, and then they play a South Carolina offense that's not very good. The two legitimate opponents they've played, Texas, who has a better defense than Oklahoma, they lose that game. Granted, John Mateer wasn't there. We understand that that's fair. And then they played Ole Miss, which is the best offense they've played all year long. And guess what? They only led for 5 total minutes of that game. Ole Miss got out to a fast start and never really looked back. I think this Tennessee offense is every bit as good as Ole Miss is here.
Those are my favorite 5 minutes of the game, by the way, because I was on OU last week.
Yeah. Sorry. But I lean Tennessee in the spot here. Night game at Knoxville, come on.
Yeah, but all right. So I can't believe I'm going to let them disappoint me again this week, aren't I? Oh, God. Oklahoma plus the points, because if you're looking at it that way, and speaking of everything Mark said makes 100% sense. You wish Mateer was healthy the whole season to see what he could look like. And is he still scuffling? Did he come back early? All these things that go into play. Oklahoma was a team that every time they were in a big game, meaning playing another top 10 team, I would bet against them in a heartbeat because they would always let you down. I don't know what the hell I'm doing this year because I've jumped on them twice and they have let me down. So give me Oklahoma plus 3.5 because I think that line seems too close to me.
Well, I will say this much in your favor. Tennessee's defense is what you would call bad. They gave up 34 points to Kentucky, for crying out loud. They gave up 31 to Arkansas. They gave up 34 to Mississippi State. They gave up 24 to UAB with Trent Dilfer as the head coach, for crying out loud. Like, not a good offense. I mean, defense, rather. Not a good defense. So this is all about pace for Tennessee. And I think when you look at it here, if you can find a 3 out there, I'd live with the push. But at 3.5, I certainly understand where Jeremy's going with the whole thing. But this is all about Tennessee's offense. And if Oklahoma's defense is not good against legitimate offenses, then I think Tennessee should have a day. If all of a sudden Oklahoma's defense shows up, Jeremy, guess what? 2 things happen. Oklahoma covers, may win outright, and this thing stays under that number. Because the over certainly doesn't favor Oklahoma, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And when you look at what Oklahoma has done offensively against quasi-good defensive teams, and I mentioned earlier with Auburn, who's got a good defense, Texas has got a good defense. Even South Carolina's defense isn't bad. Their offense is kind of putrid, but they only scored 26 there, and that was with Mateer back in the lineup. So to me, I think this game is one Tennessee offense versus the Oklahoma defense. So,
well, it's a matter like, all right, so if we talk about it that way, can OU's defense get stops, whereas I don't know that Tennessee's defense will.
And that may be what it hinges on. Watch third downs and third down conversion percentage in that game. All right, final game here on the card for us here. Another ranked versus ranked, 17th ranked Bearcats heading into Utah against the 24th ranked Utes. The Utes.
The Utes.
By the way,
what?
The two what? I didn't tell you this before when I go into the cocktail party. Because it's always Halloween weekend, right? There's a Halloween party on Friday night. You know what the costume is? I'm going with my girlfriend.
What?
We're doing my cousin Vinny. She's
Mona. Oh, I love it. Are you being? Is she being Vinny?
No. She's going to be Mona Lisa Vito. I was going to put on the one thing flower jumpsuit.
No, because the best thing about Mark Zinno is when he does the entire scene as Mona Lisa Vito.
Mona Lisa Vito. No, the defense is wrong. Anyway, so that's what we will be with the Utes here. This is a big number. This thing opened up at 7.5, and Utah's taking a ton of money here going forward. Little known fact here, and I did not recognize this. Cincinnati has lost a Big 12 game all year long.
Correct.
Oh, that was kind of shocking to me.
Thorsby's been good.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard not to like Cincinnati overall and what they've built. In fairness, and I was on the game against Iowa State. That's probably the toughest opponent they've played. They're 5 Big 12 games: Kansas, Iowa State, UCF, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. So they haven't really had a tough run of competition. Utah, on the other hand, played a ranked Texas Tech team. They played a ranked BYU team, lost both of those games. They get a cupcake in WVU. They beat up on Arizona State, who was without Sam Levitt in that game, I think, if I remember correctly. And then they beat up on Colorado, who's not very good. So the fact that this number is this big should tell you all you need to know. It would be Utes or pass for me, but I don't think I'm going to get involved in this one.
I don't know how much more I need to say because I agree with everything you said. I like the Utes here. And you look at the different schedules.
One Ute or the 2 Utes?
The 2 Utes. I wish they were the number 2 team in the country because I would just murder. I would beat that horse. I mean, just over it.
Only imagine you on the morning show every morning. Guys, the 2 Utes are playing this weekend?
The 2 Utes. No, but I think Utah's the right side here and that they win this game by double digits. I just think they're a far superior team. And I've seen Cincinnati play.
Physical team.
Yes. And I think that's going to show. And
the quarterback situation in Utah is bleeped. They switch quarterbacks. Dampier's out and the other guy's in. What's his name? Help me out here.
The guy with the thing.
Ficklin. The guy with
the guy.
So I don't. That always.
I like Dampier, but
I like Dampier too. I thought he was good. I just it's come off the rails there for Kyle Whittingham, but somehow Ficklin last week put up 53. Granted, it was on Colorado, but I think it was the Holy War that really sent Dampier packing. But nonetheless, you can't lose that. But I tend to agree with you. Like I said, I'm going to stay off the game. There's a lot of variance there that I'm not usually comfortable with, and from that standpoint, with a big number, I'll pass. Backdoor maybe open late, which is Jeremy's favorite thing. Hey. So I'll probably pass on that game, but I lean.
I'm on Utah. I just think it's definitely the right side. I like the way. Look, if they didn't have the tough schedule they had, and those were 2 really tough losses, I just think the team's really good. I definitely think they're the best team in their conference.
All right, time for our show best bet here. Last week we gave you guys a winner with Wake Forest. We'll try to do it again here, and we are going to head to Manhattan,
New York.
No, not the one in New York. The other one in Kansas, where Texas Tech is taking on K-State. Both these teams coming off wins last week. Kansas State just defeated Kansas in their big rivalry game, which they tend to do every single year. And Texas Tech beat up on Oklahoma State 42-0 after dropping that game to Arizona State, a game in which I had Texas Tech in. Puke. Here's the thing. Texas Tech profiles as one of the best teams in the country. And their offense is great. They have the best pass rush in the country. You look at the 2 other road wins in the Big 12. They murdered Utah, and they destroyed Houston. And Houston, I think, is one of the better defenses in the country. So they haven't really struggled much other than a game to Arizona State that you lose that I kind of think wasn't necessarily a spot where a lot of teams would have survived, all things considered, for Texas Tech. But they made a bunch of mistakes in that game late. Probably should have won it. But they were in the lead and couldn't hold in the final minute as Arizona State scores a touchdown late to take the lead to win the game. But nonetheless here, Jeremy, I'm going with Kansas State, not only because of the number. This is maybe the spot where Texas Tech comes back down to earth. They have a date with BYU on deck, and 10th ranked BYU, a team that's undefeated. And they are hoping to knock them off because Texas Tech now needs to beat that team in order to put themselves in position for the Big 12 championship game. So a little bit of a look-ahead spot here against a weaker Kansas State team who, again, their losses at Baylor and at Arizona, bad road losses to very mediocre teams. Kansas State also lost to Army earlier in the year. We know they lost the opener in Dublin, Ireland. It's insane Irish. In the opener of the year. So Kansas State is playing for nothing but pride at this point in a visit to the ReliaQuest Bowl.
The Weed Eater Bowl.
Yes, that one too. The Baba O'Reilly's, whatever it's called, or the Charlie O's. I don't know what sponsors anymore. But I do like
Tampons Bowl. I pulled a few strings and got us in.
I think they're live here. I do. Unless Kansas State beats themselves. And Avery Johnson, their quarterback, another dual threat guy.
If you get good Avery Johnson, I think you're right. Live dog.
Yeah. And that's really where they are right now. Remember, you bet numbers, not teams. And the 7.5 here, if Texas Tech wins this thing, I still believe is under a score.
Yep. I concur.
Yes. So that'll do it for us here. Kansas State plus 7.5, our show best bet. Reminder, guys, check out Top Dawgz NFL Edition, which comes out on Fridays. Obviously, this one College edition out on Thursdays. Get our premium plays. Go to our premium pages. Put a package of us together, or just pick Jeremy.
Or just pick Zinno.
There you
he
go.
Needs you. You need him.
I need you. You need me. We all need each other. That'll do it for the week 10 edition, of Top Dawgz College. For Jeremy Conn, I'm Mark Zinno. Make sure you guys stay locked in right here on the Pickdawgz YouTube page for more great content and information. We will talk to you guys on the NFL edition. Good luck with your bets this weekend. Go cash some tickets.